look familiar? Maybe a little too familiar. As students, we understand how difficult it is to stay focused on our work with so many other events and activities competing for our attention. But are we making it harder for ourselves to focus by things that we're doing every day? Without being physically prepared to learn, we're definitely not getting as much out of our education as we could and as we should. This preparedness includes getting enough sleep, eating well, and learning to cope with stress in a healthy way. Getting enough sleep is one of the best ways to prepare yourself for learning because it improves your cognitive function and your mood. I don't know about you, but if I'm not in a good mood, I don't really feel like sitting down and learning things that really don't apply to me, I have a personal experience to go with that. When I was in high school, I didn't get a ton of sleep. I got maybe 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night, which was very difficult. But I had seminary. I had other church activities that went late into the night, till 9, 10 o'clock. I went to get to bed until midnight and be up at 5 or 5:30 the next morning. And going to school like that was a little difficult. I did well. I pushed myself. But it was very difficult. I felt like it was harder for me than a lot of other students who weren't LDS, who didn't have all these activities going on, who could go home and go to bed, even if they didn't. But yeah, I would definitely have done way better if I were to have had enough sleep. Along with that, eating well is the next really big thing. This one's a little harder for me. Because, after a long day of studying and going to school and learning, you want to go home and cuddle up, eat a pizza. But, if you fill yourself with good things, you'll get good out of it. Healthy body, healthy mind. You'll have the energy you need to stay awake and stay focused, even through the most boring textbooks, My freshman year of high school, my mom and I would go and get hot chocolate every morning. I would get a hot chocolate and a chocolate muffin. So I would start out my morning of my freshman year of high school packed with sugar on 5 hours of sleep. So I would sit in my first class and I would start totally zonking out. Because I didn't have the energy to sit there and absorb everything I needed to learn. I did good in the textbook later when I actually ate protein and things that helped me with my energy, but other than that, I didn't do very well. I know you need to start out your day with more nutritious food that's going to last you. And the last way, and I think the most important way to be prepared for school is to cope with stress in a good way. And crippling stress, have you heard of that? That's a real thing. I had it in 3rd grade. I had a teacher who was just mean. She was a mean teacher. And I don't do well with people who are just inherently mean. I know that people aren't really, inherently mean, but it seemed like she was. And so I spent a lot of that year in the doctor's office and in bed because I stressed myself out so much that I made myself sick. I made myself throw up. It was not a good time. But if I learned how to cope with stress in a better way, I know that there's some people in college that kind of just drop everything. They let their grades drop because they're so stressed. But learning how to cope with stress, there are so many ways to cope with stress. Go for a walk, take a break, spend equal time with reading your scriptures. Just take a break. I think that we try too hard to push through, These ways to be physically prepared for school will make it easier. I challenge you to try these things and Maybe take some notes in your journal. See how they affect your life. Thank you.